Oh man, I am here in Mammoth Mountain, California, and I just had the most epic 2 days of riding on the brand new 2025 KTM Enduro R and Adventure R. Now these two bikes are completely new this year. In fact, the only part that carries over from the old models to the new is the piston. Let's take a look at these two models and see how they stack up.
You know how most small adventure bikes either feel too road-focused to do the job off-road or so dirt-focused that you dread the highway ride home? Well, KTM has once again found the sweet spot. With the 2025 KTM 390 Adventure R and Enduro R, they've delivered two machines in the lightweight ADV category that punch way above their weight. The bikes were designed in-house by KTM and built in partnership with Bajaj Auto in India, who now owns a large chunk of the Austrian brand. So yeah, they've got some skin in the game. They really want to make sure these bikes are a success. The new 390 platform powers the Enduro R, Adventure R, SMC R, Duke, and Adventure X. Where these models differ is in their intent. These bikes are built around a totally overhauled LC4C engine. With a 27cc bump, they've been able to squeeze a little more power out of the previous 390s, thanks to a longer stroke and revised gearing. Remember when I mentioned the only part carried over from the outgoing 390 models is the piston? Everything else from the chassis to the engine has been completely redesigned. Using the same chassis, engine, and suspension platform, the 390 Enduro R and Adventure R share about 95% of their DNA. But a few key differences have made a big impact on how they ride and who they're made for. It's the same high-revving engine you'll find in the 390 Duke, but it's been retuned with different ECU mapping, gearing, and ride modes to better suit off-road and adventure riding. Add in a 6-speed gearbox, ride-by-wire throttle, and KTM's modern electronics package, and you're getting a level of refinement you don't usually see at this price point. The two-piece steel trellis frame also carries over from the Duke, this time paired with a bolt-on aluminum subframe designed to handle the rigors of off-road travel and luggage. Suspension is another standout. Both the Enduro R and Adventure R come equipped with fully adjustable 43mm WP Apex components, delivering 9 inches of travel, a rare feature in the lightweight dual sport segment that underscores their impressive value. The electronics suite is nearly identical on both models, with a crisp TFT display, Bluetooth connectivity, and intuitive handlebar controls. A quick shifter is available as an optional upgrade as well.
Now the quick shifter is one of the best quick shifters I've used on a KTM. It is an extra that you have to purchase. They haven't released how much it will cost yet. By the time this video goes out, we'll know and we'll put it on the screen. But the quick shifter is definitely worth whatever it is they're charging.
You might wonder if we really need a quick shifter on a bike like this. Well, no, we don't. But it sure is fun to play with, and it was one of the smoothest quick shifting experiences I've ever had. Bravo, KTM. Fully fueled, the bikes ring in at 364 pounds for the Enduro R and 388 pounds for the Adventure R. While they are heavier than many of the trail-focused machines like the 311-pound Honda CRF 300L, they are noticeably lighter than most mid-size ADVs, which generally sit around the 400 to 500-pound range. Now, although these bikes are remarkably similar on paper, they're aimed at slightly different riders with different intentions. Let's start with the Enduro R. This thing is stripped down and trail ready, built for riders who want minimal interference between themselves and the terrain. You get a taller, flatter handlebar bend for better leverage off-road, a minimal front fairing, and just 2 ride modes, street and off-road.
So this bike is really easy to change from street mode to off-road mode. And you just give the joystick a bump to the right, another bump to the right, and another bump to the right. And then you can go down, bump to the right, close the throttle, and it's in street mode. So there are a few buttons to hit, but it's once you know where it's at, it's easy to find. So if you hop on the pavement like what we're doing here, you can easily get your traction control and ABS back on, and then you hit an off-road section and it's the same process for putting it in off-road mode.
Off-road mode disables rear ABS and softens the throttle for better off-road control. You can even turn ABS off completely if you wish, giving it a true dirt bike feel. The 4.2-inch display keeps things simple, and the fuel tank is just over 2 gallons, which keeps things light. The seat height is 35 inches. The 390 Adventure R, on the other hand, adds a bit of road-focused refinement. It's got a slightly larger, more aerodynamic front fairing for better wind protection at speed, and you get 3 ride modes: street, off-road, and rain. Unlike the Enduro R, the Adventure R doesn't let you turn off ABS entirely. But honestly, its off-road ABS is so well dialed in, I highly doubt many riders will miss that option. In off-road mode, the rear ABS is off, so you can still slide and lock up the rear wheel when you want to, while the front keeps a touch of ABS. It works really well on loose surfaces without making you feel like the bike's fighting you. The 5-inch TFT display is bigger and brighter than the Enduro, and it comes with 3D cornering ABS and traction control. You can even get cruise control on this model. Fancy, right? The cockpit has more sweep for relaxed road manners, has a fuel capacity of 3.7 gallons, and a seat height of 34.2 inches. Now, here's something that surprised me. This engine likes to rev, and it took a little getting used to. The power comes on higher in the RPM range, and the shift points feel long, with 5th and 6th almost feeling like overdrive gears. But the biggest standout? Vibration, or lack thereof. Even cruising at 80 miles an hour on the highway, I still had relatively clear mirrors and hardly any buzz in the hands or feet. That alone makes this thing a great little touring bike.
It may only be a sub 400cc bike, but it feels really good on the road. And the gearing is still a little high, so I mean, even running at 60 miles an hour, if you want pull out of a corner, I'm still in 5th gear. We've got a whole nother gear that we could pop into if we wanted to.
In the dirt, you've got to keep it wound up. First gear seemed a bit tall for tight woods, but the slipper clutch helps once you realize you need it more frequently. If I rode trails often on this bike, I'd probably play with different size sprockets to shorten up the gearing. Now, KTM claims these bikes get around 69 miles per gallon. I got closer to 45 with a mix of mostly dirt and some pavement while riding between 5,000 and 9,000 feet in elevation. But still, that's a pretty solid range. I imagine I'd see that number climb a bit if I was being a little nicer to the throttle. As someone who's logged lots of miles on both full-size ADV bikes and lightweight dirt bikes, I was surprised by how well the 390s blend the best of both worlds.
But this bike handles similarly to a larger ADV bike. You feel the weight. It's not a small Enduro. You're gonna steer it more with the pegs, steer it more with the rear.
They reward rear active riding similar to a big bike. You use the pegs, work the rear wheel to steer, and let the front dig in and guide the bike where you want to go. Then, when you get into the tighter terrain, you can scoot up on the seat and really use the handlebars to push your way through corners. They're planted in the loose stuff, flickable in the tight stuff, and surprisingly stable at speed. It's like KTM managed to capture the confidence-inspiring heft of a bigger ADV, but also the playfulness and flickability of a smaller trail bike, without tipping too far in either direction. Real quick, we can't forget about the Adventure X. I didn't get to ride this version as it's not available until later this summer, but it's worth mentioning since it's a very similar model. The Adventure X is the stripped-down version of the Adventure R. Non-adjustable suspension with a little less travel, smaller cast wheels, an LCD screen instead of TFT, no rain mode, no option for cruise control or a quick shifter. Brake and clutch levers aren't adjustable, and it uses more rudimentary traction control and ABS. The suspension and wheel choices do lower the seat height to an approachable 32.4 inches. But here's the deal. It still looks the part. It still uses the same engine, and it's $1,100 cheaper. At $5,899, it's a solid entry point if you don't plan to spend much time off-road or want an entry-level ADV that's more road-focused. The Adventure X offers a pretty solid value without breaking the bank. But if features like adjustable suspension, spoked wheels, more advanced electronics, and extra riding modes matter to you, the Adventure R is, in my opinion, worth the upgrade.
I would not compare this bike directly to like the EXC line. This is a more road-oriented off-road bike.
The Enduro R is gunning for bikes like the CRF 300L and the KLX 300. But with 44 horsepower, nearly double what the CRF and KLX put out, and ride modes, ABS, and electronics, yeah, the KTM makes a strong case. The new DRZ4S is its closest competition, but you'll pay $3,500 more for a bike that feels like it got everything thrown at it without much thought. That's the cost of a whole second used motorcycle. At $5,499, the Enduro is only $50 more than the KLX, and the amount of tech and performance you're getting for that price is honestly kind of crazy. As for the Adventure R, it's going after both the lightweight dual sports and heavier middleweights like the KLR 650 and DR 650S. And while both those bikes are iconic, they still lack ride modes, cornering ABS, or really any electronics at all. Plus, when it comes to comparing power to weight ratio between these three bikes, the 390 wins. The 390 feels way more modern, more powerful, and it's cheaper. At the end of the day, the 390s check all the boxes. Comfortable, techy, off-road capable, and still a blast to ride despite its small displacement engine. KTM's done something really smart here. They've built bikes that can take on multiple categories at once and are incredibly approachable for the majority of riders. Sure, we'll have to see how the Bajaj-built models hold up over time, but honestly, at these prices, it's not that big of a gamble. So if you lean more towards trail riding, go with the Enduro R. If you're chasing adventure and like a little more tech on your machine, go with the Adventure R. Either way, you're winning.
So, are you ready to buy a 390 yet? Let us know in the comments below. If you liked this video, give us a thumbs up. And as always, be sure to subscribe so you can stay up to date on all the latest motorcycle news.